What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? And what up again? And welcome to another week of Journey of a Jackass. And I am your host with the most. Of course, it's me, Dyer Shakur. Right? Welcome to another week. I want to thank everybody that has been supporting the show, coming on week by week, day by day, things to that nature, and just showing the love. Just showing the love. I really, really appreciate the love, right? Now, as y'all can see, I got one of my homeboys is running for, why did that cut on? All right, so one of my homeboys is running for House of Delegates here in the county. So, and man, I want to give a special shout out to Joseph Tober, man, because he's actually out doing the ground level work and stuff like that. Win, lose, or draw, but open elections start with him. And y'all know I don't talk about politics on here, right? Because that's not, I don't social issues, politics, stuff like that. No, I like to see people out here thriving, surviving, and doing good, of course, right? But I'm more into helping people out, expose what they have going on to the world, things to that nature, right? But shout out to my man Joe Tober, man. He's out here hosting events and doing meet and greets and all that stuff. I just did an event with him on Saturday. Good brother. Early election start June 11th. So anyway, it's summertime is here, y'all. Summertime is here. I hope y'all got things planned for the kids, so they don't be out here with the shenanigans. There's too much foolishness going on in the world. Keep your kids out these streets, all right? These teen takers over and all that stuff, they're not playing with it no more. So please, and us old motherfuckers ain't playing either. We not playing either. BOPK, I beat other people's kids. All right, so keep them safe, keep them in the house, or give them something constructive to do. Now, tonight, I have a CEO on the show of Informed, you know what I'm saying, .now. Shishkin, he's going to be on here, and he's going to get into the weeds of what he does, what his platform is, and how beneficial it is to the world. We're going to get into the weeds of all of that. It's called Informed.now. But we're going to get into lots of other things as well. But before we get into that, y'all already know what time it is. Story time with me. Now, y'all know every week I come on here, I tell stories about when I've been beat up, jumped, army stories, sex stories, you name it. Times that, like, life experiences, traveling, of course, traveling, right? So this week, since we have someone that provides information to the world, I'm gonna tell you one time I provided information to the world and it went wrong. So this is when I was in high school, long time ago. You know, I've been out for a while. You can see the grades all coming in. All right. So many moons ago, I was in high school. You know what I'm saying? People, we were kids doing fun things, doing wild things, just having fun, right? There was a guy that was he wanted to be a part of our neighborhood, our crew and stuff like that. So we used to make him do dumb stuff, right? Hey man, go over there, take that backpack. Go over there and get that dude money, blah, blah, blah. Go rob that dice game. You know, do dumb shit, right? So anyway, he was like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll do it. But we had no intentions of really hanging out with this guy. We knew it. All of us knew it. Everybody knew it. It is what it is, right? So we told him to do like a dumb test. Man, go steal a wheel off this car. He went and did it, right? Went and did it. I was like, man, this dude would do anything to be down. So we were sitting down, teenagers, be of mine, on the sewer hole, wasn't supposed to be drinking, but we was out there drinking anyway, above the law in the 90s. The liquor stores didn't care back then. They did not. We used to go in there with the baby face, and they'd be like, here, 40 ounces for everybody. It is what it is, different time. So one day we said, hey, man, we try to go out tonight. Go find us a car. Right? He's like, okay, cool. I'll be back in a couple hours. We looking around, we laughing, we playing, and stuff like that, right? Laughing, playing, joking around, all this stuff. So I was the antagonist. Man, go get us a car, man. We want to go out. We want to go out. We're going to hang out, right? So he goes, comes back a couple hours later with a car. We're like, oh, man, he really came back with a car. I said, man, where you get this car from? He said, oh, I took it. He went and stole the car. We was like, why would you go steal a car? Nobody understood this. We was like, okay, we thought we were going to borrow one or whatever. He went and stole the car. So we didn't care. We were young, reckless. Come on, let's take this car. Let's go in the city, right? So we get in the city. Once we get in the city, we having a good time, having like great time, whatever the case may be. After like a night of being wild teenagers in DC, drinking 40s, they were smoking weed. I ain't never really been a big weed smoker. So we doing that thing. We headed home. Then boom, we get pulled over. I like, oh man, here we go. Street code kicked in for everybody, right? Except for one person, the person that we had go steal the car. Everybody was like this. They ran the plates, said it was seen. The car was stolen. We had empty bottles in the car. They smelled weed, pulled us all out the car, put us in handcuffs. I was like, here we go, right? So they said, who stole the car? Why were y'all in the car? So we was accessories to joyride anyway, because there wasn't no kid in there. We knew what it was. So they put us in the car, took us down. They put us in separate cars, took us down to the station, right? Automatically, the guy, not understanding street code, started informing the police. Now remember, it's me, him, the police band. The other people are in the other car. The other two in the other car. He starts informing the police of what is going on. I'm like, oh man, why are you talking so much? We ain't even to the station yet. Like, why you talking so much? You know, I'm nudging like, man, shut up. My hands behind my back. Like, shut up. So we get down to the station. They pull us all in separate rooms. You know how they do. They process us and all stuff. It's juveniles, all that stuff. They bring us in, put us in separate rooms. They say, okay, who stole the car? He's like, I stole the car, but they told me to do it or they was going to do this to me, right? So we all went in there. I was like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Dude was in there telling the story, everything, right? So we were released to our parents. Because the dude who the car got stolen from didn't want to press charges. So we got released to our parents. My mom was mad. You know what I'm saying? My mom was mad. Their parents was mad. And man, something got to stop, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I said, okay, cool, you know? So that following Monday, we get to school, and I'm like, hey, man, listen, old buddy was singing like a bird, and everybody was ignoring me. Like, I know he was in the car singing like a bird. I don't know what he said when he was in the back room, but he was in there singing like a bird. So everybody was ignoring me and stuff like this. So he informed the police. He was the informant for the police. Remember this. Him, the guy that we sent on the mission, the dummy. When after school we get off the bus, I said, man, what's going on? I'm thinking that their parents told me, said, hey, man, you know, we don't want y'all hanging together no more or something to that nature, right? I said, no. I was like, man, so I said, forget it. I started walking down towards the house, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Next thing you know, I feel a punch in the back of the head. Boom. One of the homeboys that was in the other car. Then another one. Boom. And then they put a bag over my head and started whooping me. Boom, 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 boom. Guess who was with them? The dude that was telling the police. He went and got to them earlier, told them that I was the one that snitched to everybody, the police. So I'm out there fighting with three dudes with a trash bag on my head. I can barely breathe. They kick me down this hill. I'm rolling down the hill. I get scuffed up. I'm all tore up. I go home. I'm fighting for my life to get out this bag. I can't breathe. They stomping me out. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, man, blah, blah, blah. I didn't think the beat was going to ever end. And then I hear the dude voice out there. It's like, see, he was a snitch, blah, blah, blah. Y'all, we should never trust him in the first place. So, you know me, everybody know me. Every single one of them wanted to catch me on the one. That's just the way I grew up. So anyway, boom, because they thought I informed. So I get home, they look at me. After I just get I'm all dusted up, knocked up, knotted up and everything and stuff like that, right? I get in the house. My dad was there. He was coming to visit. My mom was there. I got whippings from them too. What happened? Blah, blah, blah. Why was you stealing? Why was you in the stolen car? Why did you tell on them? Blah, blah, blah. I said, I didn't tell them nobody. Why is everybody saying this? So the dude that we was telling do everything contacted all the parents, and their son told all the parents that that I'm the one that went and told the police everything. The dude lied to me. So because he informed the police and he didn't really want to get in no trouble, he told everybody this. Informed the parents, right? Informed them now. That makes sense. Informed all the parents. So I got beat up, jumped. Nothing ever happened to the dude because he got sent to his aunt's house. So because we sent him on a dummy mission because he wanted to be down with us and we didn't really want him to be around, he did all of this stuff, got me jumped by my friends. I'm still cool with to this date. We never seen dude again, or whatever the case may be. And then they come and find out he was really the one that told. They apologized to me, all that stuff. But it took a minute. But because I wanted to be dumb and he wanted to inform the police and inform his parents of a lie, I had to pay the consequences. So with that being said, if you want to communicate right, communicate the right things. And if not, you're going to find yourself in a situation getting jumped, beat up, going to jail, and beat by your parents. And that's story time with me. That's why information is power. That's why I'm glad we have the CEO of Informed.now tonight, Shishkin, right? Information is power. Honesty and truth in everything is power, right? So with that being said, coming to the stage, the one, the only CEO of Informed.now, Shishkin.
Wow. What a story, man. What a story. That's incredible. These were wilder times than we live in now.
Yes, way wilder times. So, but it was all about bad information. You see what happened when bad information gets put out there? I went through it. I got beat up by friends, parents, and I got handcuffed and booked into a jail, all over some bad information. You see, that's why I'm glad why we have people like you in the world. So I think you look like you ain't never been through nothing like that. Have you?
Well, I've had my fair share of wild stories, nothing of this caliber. But I love that you kick us off with this because it shows, even information at a scale of a couple of friends, a couple of peers, has profound consequences on our lives. And when you elevate information that's a scale of a society, such as what we deal with, which is news content, the trickle-down effects of that are momentous. Like, they are incredible. There's so much that affects our life based on the purity and the truthfulness of information that we consume, that we exchange. And the mission that I lead, which is the project called Informed.now, is about rebuilding the factual infrastructure for a country that has corrupted so much of its media plumbing, right? And that's our mission. We love to get into it with you, but that's the brief primer on what I'm all about and what our company does, what our project is doing.
Now, I'm glad you said that because we about to get straight into the weeds because we're talking about factual information. Now, with social media diluting everything, right? People could just go on their YouTube channel with no repercussions and say what they want, make up what they want. There's falsehoods and stuff like that. We have right-wing media, left-wing media. There is no neutral media platforms. One side is telling one story, the other telling one story, but 90% of the stuff they're telling is misleading and lies, right? So, with all of this congested false media and propaganda being pushed to America, what separates your company from that?
Yeah, I mean, this is a loaded question. I'd love to tackle it. I mean, you kind of start off in the right way. It's very hard today for a regular person like you and I, a normal person in America, to access like truthful information. Everywhere we go, there is no shortage of information, but it is full of noise. And what is that noise? It's worth naming what the noise is. The noise is clickbait, right? It's that everything is sensationalized to an nth degree. It's rage bait. Everything is triggering a response of fear or anger or some kind of outrage. And these headlines and these articles, they're triggering you to have an emotional response. So you can engage and so you feel agitated, because that's how they make their money. That's how they sell. That's one part of noise. The other part of noise is the amount of advertisement that exists all over every newspaper that's in print, every newspaper that's online. It's full of noise that is just advertisement and solicitations. That's another flavor of noise. And the third, very obvious, is the ceaseless bias that the left side, the right side, the upside, the downside, everyone's vying for buy-in into their version of reality. And they're willing to go to great length to sensationalize, to antagonize the other side, to telltale, to dramatize, to an extent where you can't even navigate this information kind of ecosystem anymore, because there's so much just misinformed, malinformed, disinformed. There are all these ways of uninformed. And these layers of noise that I point to, they make it very difficult for normal people to just access the facts of what the hell happened, right? What's the policy? What is the Supreme Court case? What is the Bill of Congress? What's the inflation rate? What's the unemployment rate? What are essential things? What is our relationship with Iran right now? Right? Most people don't even know. What's the relationship with Venezuela? Is there a war in the Middle East? Like, what's happening? Are we involved? It's very, very complicated stuff.
It is. One side is saying, oh, the war's over. The other side is saying soldiers still got to have boots on the ground. Same thing with the economy. One side said the economy is suffering, jobs are we're losing jobs. The other side said jobs are flourishing. We're in the best economy ever. Like, where is the neutral ground? Especially when it comes to social issues in America, because once a social issue hits social media, it's over with. So where is the fair medium? Where like this going to silence all the noise and speak from both sides of the spectrum to get to a fair point, right?
Yeah.
Where do we find that now?
And that's exactly what we're building, right?
Yes.
We think of our project much more as an infrastructure project rather than another instance of the left, another instance of the right, another instance of any of these sides, right? There's a prevailing way of thinking right now among people who want to be informed, that in order to be informed, you need to read both sides. You need to read everything double. But frankly, most people can't afford the time to read things once, forget reading things twice or three times. And so we don't believe that it's about reading all the sides. It's about reading the information in its primary form that doesn't try to sway you a certain way, to try and push you a perspective, push you an opinion. It doesn't try to impose or influence you in any capacity.
Well, I can tell you what the problem is with that. So I read an article in Fortune magazine right now. This is one of the prime issues, right, that we have in this country, right? Education is failing people as a whole. But I read an article from Fortune magazine today that stated that 67% of the kids that are showing up their freshman year in college can't read past or do math past a middle school level. Yeah. So how can you keep someone informed that's not even reading past a middle school level?
Yeah. That's definitely a challenge in an education epidemic in America. That's certainly happening. Well, I think it sort of has the same answer that I was, leading us towards, which is it's about minimalism. It's all right. What we pioneer is news minimalism. You don't need to necessarily read more content in order to be more informed. It's about reading the right things. It's about reading the things that don't try to influence you, right? Because if you're reading one side and then reading another side, you're not really more informed. You just have more noise in your brain. And now you have to triangulate and think, okay, so where exactly is the truth between these two radical opinions, right? If you're looking at CNN, And then you look at Fox News talking about the same story, say it's a Trump story. One is saying Trump is the worst thing in the world, one saying Trump is the best thing in the world. And you're not really more clear. You're just having to kind of figure out what you think, but you're not being informed. You're being just influenced from multiple sides. So you have the pressure of that, but you don't have the ingredients to make up your own mind.
I'm saying that's why I feel like media, like that kind of media, is kind of dying off, because it's more opinion than facts now. And yeah, we need to get back to fact-based journalism, fact-based news, things of that nature. And that is one of the things that we're missing in America as a whole, in the world as a whole, right? And people's reluctance to believe facts is a major problem out here, right? So how do you, with your company, how do you filter past people's reluctance to believe facts? Because a lot of people do not believe facts anymore. You can put legislation in front of their face and say, "Oh, that's fake. That's AI. That's not real." So how do you get back to a point where your journalism and your news and your content that is factual based, you get people back believing that?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that issue is people have forgotten what facts look like, because all of their experience is commentary, right? Most people, right, everyday people in America don't actually have access to the news. They have access to news commentary, and that is free. That is fed down every single bar, TV, every station, everywhere you go. The news commentary is being fed to you for free, as if it is nutritious, but it just causes a mind obesity, and it does push you towards insight, right? So it's very, very difficult. Right?
Hold on, what was that term you just used? Mind obesity.
Mind obesity. I just made it up. Maybe resonates, but the food we eat when it comes to information, our information diet, is not nutritious. It is not nutritious, and that's, I think, the overall issue is that media, bias aside, sensationalizes everything to an extent that makes it non-credible. That's why news readership is at a record low and keeps getting lower each year. And news avoidance, which is like a new phenomenon that we've just come up with the last couple of years, news avoidance, intentional people avoiding news, is at an all-time high and keeps getting higher every single year.
I'm gonna tell you where this is me, because I stopped watching the news. Like, I don't watch CNN, I don't watch Fox, MSNBC. I've been watching that stuff in years. But I can tell you where I think where people kind of hit the wall with that is during COVID. They was like, no, because it was so many people say, "Oh, arguments over take the shot, don't take the shot. You can't leave the house. You can't leave the house. Blah blah blah." People like, well, I don't want to watch any of this anymore. It's depressing. It's tiring. Things like that. So I think that's where we kind of hit the wall with it. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think that's where we started to see that downward trend of viewership with mainstream media news outlets.
Totally. I think it became really visible, right, during COVID and post-COVID, because the distrust for institutions has also really declined, and alongside that, distrust for media institutions. But I think we've been cooking, we've been boiling this frog for at least a decade now. And per our thesis, our company thesis, is this has been happening since the large news media companies accepted advertisement as their form of business. Because when you accept advertisement as a form of business, you accept the advertiser as your customer, because they're the ones paying the bills. And now the reader gets it for free, but the reader is no longer the customer. The reader is the product, and the reader's eyes are harvested. Her attention is harvested. His eyes are harvested. His time is harvested, and is packaged and sold to the advertiser. And when you open, any newspaper, again, print or digital, it is packed with ads. There's a banner on the top, banner on the bottom, banner in the middle, pop up here, left side, right side. It's peppered with incestuous, just a volume of clickbait advertisement.
That's right.
Everything from cars to drugs to socks to tricks for your financial retirement plan. It's disgusting.
Even on social media, like if you click a link to read an article, they are showing videos, spinoli and spaghetti sauce, buy the new SUV. You can't even make it a paragraph or two with the article without seeing that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And it's become unbearable. It doesn't take a genius. All of us see it. When we
Yep.
encounter media that manipulates us so outwardly, so outright manipulates us towards purchasing, towards feeling outraged, it's a bad aftertaste that stays. And
Mhm.
what I'm really worried about is young people, right? Younger Gen Z, Generation Alpha that's upcoming. When these kids and these young people encounter news for the first time and they see the noise that they've inherited from a previous generation,
Mhm.
it's gonna take one or two articles before they say, you know what, I'm not reading this shit anymore.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, no, facts. That's facts.
And we're seeing that right now. Young people are completely disengaged and they do
Yep.
not believe that news reading is worthwhile.
They're
And they're
watching
right.
it, reading it. They're like, no, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And then not only that, like I said, they're not reading. If they can visually see it, and then the half the stuff that they process is visually watching is garbage. Social media is garbage. One of the biggest issues I think with media as well. I mean, um, I think it's a societal decline as a whole. One of the worst things that ever happened to factual news and everything was social media. I always bring social media up because now we're starting. Twitter came in with 09, 10. We had MySpace. Then we got Facebook around 11, 12. Then you start getting all these other social media platforms. We're starting to see the societal decline from social media. And people will believe a friend on an Instagram live than anything they see on mainstream media, right? So, how do we corral those people back in? You know what I'm saying? How do we corral those people back into the fold?
Totally. I want to comment on that before answering. I think it resonates a lot, right? Because with the decline of trust in the large institutions,
Yep.
where else do you put your trust? You need to trust something as a human. And so obviously the trust kind of shifted to our peers. And
Yep.
there
Yep.
are large surveys that have been run by really, really successful, really beautiful like finding all these adjectives. There have been really interesting studies run by researchers
Mm-hmm.
that I follow, that I really respect, that show that actually I know exactly who it is. I remember it's the Edelman Trust Index.
Okay.
There's a research company called Edelman, and they run something called the Trust Barometer or a Trust Index every year, where they ask, it's a large scale survey of what do people trust. And over the
Mm-hmm.
last couple of years, we see a shift where people say they trust their peers more than they trust the kind of stated experts on a topic, which is a
Mm-hmm.
really interesting change that is new for our species. It's new for our civilization because,
Yep.
20 years ago, trusting the expert was the default comfort, not trusting a peer. But
Yep.
as trust in the institutions continues to decline, this sort of trust shift being switching on to peers enables social media, which is meant to be a peer space, with a lot of credibility that is frankly undue, right? Because a lot of the editorial filters of quality, of accuracy that have declined in the traditional media as well, but in
Mm-hmm.
social media, they never even existed, right?
Yeah.
And they can pick up a phone and
Mm-hmm.
start talking about an issue, start claiming to inform people, but ultimately they have maybe their own bias, their own agenda, their own incentives that are ulterior. And
Yep.
so social media, although it's become sort of the second option, is even less prime for doing what it's meant to do, right? So there's a very complicated situation where the traditional legacy media is no
Mm-hmm.
longer trusted, and for the right reasons, because they've destroyed their reputation through advertisement and all the incentives trickling down from that. And
Mm-hmm.
we trust social media because while all the eyes are there, everybody knows, if they're reasoning well, that this is a wild west
Yep.
ecosystem,
That's
that
right.
it's all about virality, right? It's all about sensation, it's all about the hook, it's all about getting people to watch. It's not about informative, accurate insight. And so, to your question, I know you've asked it a couple of times, but I wanted to like jam on the problem a little bit.
Uh-huh.
How do we solve this, and how do we specifically with Informed.now, what do we do about it?
Yep.
Can I tell you kind of our approach is not original. We're not reinventing any wheel. We're not trying to come up with something completely out of the blue. We're returning back to the basics. And the basics of quality reporting and talking about fact finding and truth seeking is
Mm-hmm.
referencing primary sources. And primary sources exist for the vast majority of like world shaping events. whether
Okay.
it's a government announcement, a central bank announcement, it's a large public company saying, hey, we're doing this thing. There are announcers like Supreme Court, Congress, White House, and those exact faculties across every country
Mm-hmm.
that are the ones that bear the news. And then these news get picked up by social media, by traditional legacy newspapers, and then they start spinning a story on it. How it's the worst thing, how it's the best thing, how you have to read, you don't know what happened, it's unbelievable. They bring the storytelling layer.
Yep.
And for too long in America, all that Americans have is that storytelling layer. They have no access to the actual primary source, and they have no
Mm-hmm.
access to the actual original content. And
Okay.
that's what we do. We bring the power of facts, we put the power of facts first. And we do that by
Okay.
referencing primary sources in everything that we do. And we bring it with a research mindset. We're not journalists, we're not reporters, we are researchers. And our company is a news research company. And we do what any person would do if they're trying to seek out the truth of an issue, but doesn't have the time to do it. They don't have the resources, they don't have the know-how, they don't know how to read Supreme Court papers, they don't know how to read bills of Congress. We
Yep.
read all those original documents, whether that's coming from the Census Bureau, from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, whether it's from the White House, chicken scratch, whether it's coming from a Twitter account of an influential person. We're taking those original statements, announcements, and first prime mover statements, reports, and are capturing the factuality of that without the storytelling. And so our news look very strange to people who've never seen them before, because we
Yes.
tell stories. We don't write articles. We don't sensationalize, and we certainly don't talk past a very, very small word limit. We give
Yep.
you the meaning of the news story in the length of just a couple of bullet points. And we cover what happened, where did
Mm-hmm.
it happen, when did it happen, what is the very immediate context that you need to know to understand how this affects your life and make your own decisions as a head of a household, as a mother, as a business owner, as a friend, as a student, as a member of a family,
Mm-hmm.
right? We give you that power of facts, and we do so in the simplest format we could think of.
Yep.
No apps, no websites,
Mm-hmm.
no none of that newspaper um, circus. We SMS text you this
Mm-hmm.
news research every morning of every weekday, and it's always the same length. It's extremely concise. It's 150 words, but you get it every single morning, and you take about 30 seconds to read it, and that's all you need to know for the day. Because in that little digest that we put together, we research for you, and we monitor the world on 24/7 basis. We surface the facts and things that are actually shaping the world you live in,
Okay.
versus just generic, political drama, sports updates, or celebrity gossip. We don't touch that stuff.
Yep. Okay. So now I'm so you're a very young looking CEO, right? So how long have you been the CEO of your company Informed.now?
Yeah.
How long has the company been around? Like
Yes.
in
Yeah.
total?
I'm in my fourth company today. So Informed.now is my fourth company. It's in our second year of operation,
Okay.
and we've grown to be a pretty large team by now. And despite the young looks that I work on very hard, lived a lot of life.
Oh yeah, okay. Four companies, man. What other endeavors have you done besides Informed.now? What are some of your other endeavors?
My first company, this was way back more than a decade ago, was in book publishing. We were publishing academic textbooks to help high school students learn about American history. Because American history is a fascinating concept, but the way it's taught is a little
Skewed.
bit, it's a little skewed, a little
Yeah,
mysterious. It's a
yeah,
mysterious story.
yeah.
And we only have 250 years of history, right? Maybe 300, if you're being generous. There isn't that much to confuse. And
Mhm.
so it was about bringing clarity, right? Same mission, right? Same mission as we're on right now. It's about
Yeah.
bringing clarity to learning American history in a very straightforward way. And so that business was called American Chronology, and that was the first.
Okay.
I've really pivoted generally into technology, where I spent a lot of my young career and my mid career up until now. And I built in crypto infrastructure, some of the foundational projects behind Ethereum network.
Okay.
Then I built a financial technology marketplace that was part of the general Intuit conglomerate. We built a marketplace that connected people that that had a hard time finding each other, essentially professionals and consumers. But I don't want to get into too much detail. And about 2 years ago now, started Informed.now, and it's really purpose building for me because I'm somebody who comes from Ukraine and Israel before coming to the United States.
Okay.
And here I've seen misinformation overload at the highest of stakes. These are some of the loudest conflicts of our world today. And seeing that story play out in Ukraine, then in Israel, when I came to the US, I was not about to watch that episode a third time. I wanted to do something about it. It also felt like the right time to help. America is in what feels like a civil war.
Yes, it's tumultuous right now. Like everybody's is black versus white, Asian versus black, white versus Asian, white versus Somalis. Like there's no middle point. That's why I'm glad that we're only having this conversation, right? I'm glad. Now, before we move forward with that, you said you were involved in tech. Now, with you being Informed.now right now, and you dealing with news, media, articles, and information, how concerned are you with AI at this point, with everything that's going on? How concerned are you with AI in your field and what you're doing?
Extremely, extremely concerned. I'm both optimistic and concerned. Are you a Star Wars fan?
Yes, I am. Yep.
So we're seeing, and we're seeing this already, I think, from like my side of operating in this industry, but I think we'll see this more and more to come. There are going to be the Jedi and there are going to be the Sith who leverage AI for two different purposes. AI is one of the power of AI right now, especially the free version. You don't even need to be an expert in any capacity. Allows you to generate content at the speed of thought and faster and much faster. And so malicious actors out there, and they are already doing this, at scale, are able to generate fictitious articles, or even, in a different way, malicious articles that can skew a story a certain direction, can skew people a certain direction, especially vulnerable people who maybe not the most media literate, maybe not the most sophisticated, maybe they're older, right? And so there's a lot of people who are vulnerable to just information they encounter on the internet. And now it is so easy to publish. It is so easy to publish some story breaks. You can click a button and there are 300 articles across 300 websites that talk about the issue. And they can talk about this issue with a stint that can be malicious, not just having an agenda, but it can be really malicious. And that's always been possible, right? That's always been around. But now with the power of AI, if that can be escalated to a place of real concern, right? Foreign interference from China, from Russia, from other actors who, seek to influence American culture and have always sought to influence. I mean, it's the game all these countries play, us included.
Cyber warfare. Cyber warfare.
The amount, right, that of these hackers, of foreign agents, and of people of our own grounds who have different intentions. I think not pure intentions. The power they now hold, and it's really easy to access, is substantial, and it's a huge escalation in risk, in real risk across many axes. But there's also the Jedi. And I'd like to think that we are among them, and we lead them, in a sense that you can use AI now to filter through the noise that previously you couldn't. Previously, you were kind of at the mercy of all these ads, all the sensationalism, all this noise, and you're like, well, I can't even read any of this. Our thesis that in the next couple of years is going to get so noisy online, it's going to get so noisy in the media, that it will be impossible for an average person like you and me to be able to just read news without a filter. Like we won't be able to interact with content without building our own and having our own or renting our own filter that will protect us from malicious noise, from just volume, like high volume noise. And so we are, in the first wave of building a filter that strips away the bullshit, strips away the malice, strips away the sensationalism, and all these things we've been talking about and describing as noise in
Yep.
favor of signal, right? Signal among the noise, things that are insightful, that are helpful for you to make decisions, but that will not influence you, that will not overwhelm you, and that will not drain you along the way.
Okay, so now I'm glad you brought that up about filtering through the bullshit, right? So even I feel like even now AI can be, like you said, it can be used in a malicious way, it can be convoluted because it's doing what other people are saying. So with that being said, because it's only like the data centers and all this stuff, it's one dude to control the data centers. AI is only being controlled by a small group of people. With that being said, media is controlled by a small group of people. How much longer do you think legacy media, newspaper, and informational platforms have left before it's completely taken over? Or do you think there's always going to be room in the space for Informed.now and other strong factual-based news outlets?
Yeah. And I'm not sure, that I'm prepared to say that some of these giants, right, that, Fox News and NBC Universal, between the two of them, they run the country's media distribution system, right? And I'm not prepared to say that, now in the age of AI, all that is done. I don't think so. I don't think the giants are going away anytime soon. I think what we're seeing is a weakening of grip that I think will continue to happen, allowing for more space for others to exist, for other alternative media to exist. And we're an example of a new media company, of an alternative media company that is prioritizing what the reader wants. And frankly, there aren't many that do that, right? Because if you look at all these independent news providers that are either on TikTok or on email newsletters, they operate with the same incentives of advertisement. They're just repackaged in a different way, right? Now this advertisement lands in your inbox. Right now, it's advertisement that looks a little bit differently, a little bit hipper, but it's still the same core business model that the reader gets things for free, but the reader is the one being monetized. And, I yearn to see more solutions like ours. I'm not saying, we're the only ones forever. I think we're leading a wave. We're leading a charge, but I'm hoping a wave of companies that come to say, actually, the innovation is not about reinventing distribution. It's not about reinventing like topics or what we talk about. It's about putting the reader first, which is something that's been so forgotten for so long. But now, as the loosening of the grip continues, it has to happen. I think for the reader to re-engage with news content, which right now the reader is very checked out. As you know, it's about the reader first and saying, actually, we care about what you want. We want to serve you, not the tech platform, not the algorithm, and not some advertisement consortium.
Now, with you being the leader of factual content in the world, a diluted world right now, right? And the way the economy is right now, right? Is there a price point on your media, your factual content that is affordable for people that I feel like they aren't doing so well in the world right now?
Absolutely. Our whole mission was building this company is to build it for the everyday person. And so we take a lot of pride that just a couple of months ago, we've been able to make our work free for everybody. And we made our full version, which is supporters who want to kind of get the premium. We made it so affordable that I would say anybody, a recent immigrant like myself, a person who had to skip college education to work, somebody who's supporting a family and struggling, somebody who is new as a student, is just starting out and doesn't have a lot. Our price points welcome everybody. And that's the spirit with which we were built. So I'll mention them right away. Informed.now, an entire year worth of our research is only $55. And we actually just recently launched a lifetime offer. I don't know if we'll keep it forever, but for $99, you can have a lifetime access to the power of facts in your palm.
See, and you already have a new customer in me because I'm looking for factual information. I'm tired of doing all the filtering on my own. And I'm a reader. I don't watch TV like news and all stuff, but I am a reader. I will And like you said, all the ads and the diluted information that everybody wants to tell a story before getting to the meat and potatoes of it, give their opinion or do an opinion piece before they get to the facts. I just want to know the facts. And let me make my own decisions after that. The world lacks independent thinkers. And I'm glad that you're doing something as an independent thought piece maker. You know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I really appreciate that.
We deliver news for people who want to make up their own mind.
Yep.
We try to encourage critical thinking in a time where there's a critical thinking crisis.
Yes.
And independent thought, also at a time where that's been sort of falling apart a little bit, right? You know, our project is about infrastructure. It's about rebuilding the information infrastructure in a country that has no information infrastructure whatsoever. It has just loud voices screaming at each other from all these different sides of the room.
Yep.
Right. We need an infrastructure project. And that's how I think of our news research. That's how I think of our mission is we're building infrastructure for facts to be accessible to everyday people.
Now with your company, I know you just started a couple years ago, but roughly what size for the company you have now, what size do or the amount of staff do you need to facilitate a project like this? To facilitate a company like this, the way to keep everybody informed the right way. Like, what is your staffing like?
Totally. We're up to 30 people now, and we just welcomed a class of interns for the summer, which we're really proud about. We're going to have 4 stellar interns.
Okay.
Joe, Jackson, Maddie, and Tin. And so now I guess we're more than 30 strong. But we also use a lot of best-in-class tools, right? The way we've built is around building systematic processes. We use some of our in-house made software to access information, to make things that used to be manual much more automated, still with a human head at the top, always a human focus. And so we actually, I don't know if our goal or for us growth looks like exploding to be a 1,000-person company. I don't know if we need that. I think the era of a 1,000-person company is sort of past, or at least a lot of companies don't need to be 1,000 people.
And you're seeing that with the Oracle just downsized, Intrust just downsized, Marvel just downsized a bunch of people. We're starting to see all these major companies do downsizing. Now with you being an immigrant, don't be saying it. I hope you legal because they will come and get you. now, with you being an immigrant, being in Ukraine and Israel, what made you commit to moving to America to pursue your dreams?
It's great. I was recently talking in a Jeffersonian circle organized by a good friend of mine around the meaning of the American dream today, right? Coming up on a 250th anniversary of the country. And what is the meaning of the American dream today? To me, it is still alive. It is alive through me. Like, I see it, I feel it. And when I was in Israel, at the time when I was thinking about America, what was waking up in me is a desire to build something for the world, a desire to build a solution to a problem that feels personal. This one feels very personal to me.
Okay.
And America, United States in particular, creates an environment where people can build. There is a culture that is described as a mix of hustle culture and opportunity culture. There is an opportunity to build here that I have not seen in Europe, having spent a lot of time in Europe and having grown up in Eastern Europe. I've not seen in the Middle East. I've certainly not seen in any other continent. There's an opportunity here where the market, the people want you to build, and they are open and interested in supporting, adopting, and trying what it is your solution is.
Yep.
And there's a level of open-mindedness and a level of that respect for hustle and endeavor. There's a respect for endeavor in this country that is very special. And I think sometimes internally we forget it. We take it for granted.
People think so. I tell people this all the time. I did 20 years in the Army, so I tell people this all the time. I've lived in other places, and when I hear people complaining about being here, I'm like, imagine there's some of these places, other places that I lived in, and I'm telling you, the opportunities are not the same. And you will have fun. It's fun. It's good to go there to have fun. But as far as the way you're living right now, no. You can go outside and make something of yourself. Everybody get the same 24 hours. It's just a matter of what you do with it, right? And I just say your 25 hours here and in Kuwait are two different things. Your 24 hours here and in the Philippines, they're two different things, you know. So I think that's excellent that you bring up that point about this being a place of hunger, hustle, and endeavor and opportunity, right? Now, with this being a place of hunger and endeavor, your focus, you came in solely with the focus of business, no group thing. You just like, no, I'm gonna get here and I'm just gonna get straight to it.
No, I think I, definitely had I think the spirit of that, right? The spirit of the ability to build. I think I've always seen myself as an entrepreneur from a young age. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and that was, there was a lot of momentum behind that trajectory. So, when I was coming to the US, I actually wasn't building anything at the time. This was back, more than a decade ago. And I wasn't building anything at the time, right? I was in a moment of, I was absorbing the culture. I was learning about this great country, learning about its people, and, finding myself a home, building myself a home here. But I knew that once I'm ready and once I see that there is a purposeful mission for me to go on, a problem that resonates deeply and profoundly, that this would be the right place to do it. And I think it's that promise of opportunity that has already and is currently today being kind of fulfilled, and I'm just getting started.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It was a specific idea, like I'm coming to the US to do business. It's much more, I'm coming to the US because it is a place that welcomes people like myself who have endeavor.
And so I can't wait till a lot of my friends, and people that I have this conversation with all the time, I can't wait till they see this interview, right? Because I tell them this all the time. They want to sit around and they want to complain about stuff like that. But I say, y'all let people that never been here, first generation people come here to America, outwork y'all, make more money than y'all, do things that y'all wish y'all could do. You've been here your whole life. They come here, and in a couple of years they're building empires. So I can't wait till they see this part of this interview.
Well, I'm on it. I can't say I'm there yet, but I'm working hard on it, and I'm working with a hunger. I think we said a lot about hustle culture, but I think you're gonna have a hunger culture.
Yeah. I'm definitely hungry. When they see me, that's why I had to change my circle of people. I was like this. I go to some people, and I'm like, man, I've been talking about the things I have going on, vending machines, my shows, and all the books that I write and stuff like that. And they're like, man, you always doing something, blah, blah, blah. They complaining about your success instead of congratulating you. And that's when I knew I had to shift away.
Yeah.
So, man, I think this is awesome. Now, with you being in charge of this and you wanting to have factual representation of news, if you had one dream interview, who would you interview?
Wow.
When you know you can give it straight without it being censored, filtered, they can talk all the shit they want. They can go in there and it would get factual to the people without opinion being placed on top of the news. Who would be a dream interview for you?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, right? Because we don't do interviews from the vantage point of like how we cover news. We actually find interviews are very misleading and are very difficult, right? So we don't do that for the news side. But me personally, as someone who's building in the space, I look up to Michael Bloomberg, who is he was an entrepreneur in New York in many different ways. He was a mayor of New York for a long time, and I think he's done a lot for the country, for the state, for the city, for the people around the world. But the reason I'm interested in him quite a bit is because he's built something called like Bloomberg, the company.
Yep.
And he's built, within that something called the Bloomberg terminal. And to me, that has always been the highest fidelity of signal to noise information, like how much insight is in that information. And when I think of building our company, I think of building the Bloomberg terminal for everyday people, because the Bloomberg terminal is a $300,000 subscription that only big fancy companies can afford, and it's a multi-year contract. It's for an entire team. It's very expensive. It's designed for the professional elite, and I want to bring the power, and that's what we're doing with Informed.now, the power of something called the Bloomberg terminal to every people, because we need it just as much.
Okay. Okay. And now with the news now, you said y'all don't cover crime or anything like that. I don't know. We're tired of all of the celebrity gossip and also I'm tired of that. I don't want to hear nothing about it, right? So y'all cover politics, crime, like world news, like things to that nature, right? Now,
Exactly.
what are if you can name the top 5 things that y'all cover and that is successful for you, what would those things be?
Totally. I mean, to give you more insight into how we think about what we cover, right? Ultimately, we focus on world changing world news. That is our tagline. It's global scope, so it's US as well, because US is a pretty active player in the world, but it's also everywhere around. If there's something happening in China, in India, anywhere in Africa, anywhere in Europe that people need to be aware of,
Mm-hmm.
right? We want to be apprised of that and want to make sure our readers are apprised of that. But that's the world scope part. What does it mean to be world changing? And there we get into kind of our 2 points, and we're very transparent with our model so people know what they are signing up for. We
Okay.
look at the world changing value of a certain event. We break it down to 2 questions. Number one is how many people are being affected. Usually, when you're reading stuff from us, the scale we're looking at is millions of people. It's not a local accident. It's not a local car crash or a burglary. Some high schoolers stole a car, in the middle of the city. We're not looking at that level of crime,
Like we did.
right? So you won't necessarily make the coverage,
Yeah.
right? Although it's a local thing. We don't cover small things. We cover things that inevitably change the world. And so what qualifies for that? It needs to affect millions of people. And the second question is it needs to be a substantial shift in the quality of life. So
Yep.
changes in security, changes in safety, changes in optionality of a household, changes in the purchasing power, changes
Mhm.
in the health state, like welfare, well-being of a family or of a person. That level of change at a scale of millions. And that's
Okay.
what we consider to be world changing. And so, with that filter, with that approach, we actually cover all the different topics you mentioned. We look at
Okay.
policy changes, we look at economic shifts, we look at large business markets, public markets, private markets, large activity. We look at wars, we look at peace, we look at healthcare, everything from vaccination rates to infection rates to what's happening right now with the sudden Ebola outbreak, what
Mhm.
is happening in culture, social movements, protests, scientific breakthroughs, technological advancements, space exploration, things that in the last 24 hours, because we report on a 24-hour cadence with our SMS coverage,
Uh-huh.
what has changed the world in the last 24 hours? And that's exactly what we focus on. Every morning, you get one text that gives you the most concise executive briefing for what changed the world in the last 24 hours.
Because I like that. Because when I was in the military, I didn't hate it reading, sitting there, had to read through a whole paragraph and stuff. I'm like, why you ain't just give me a brief summary of this? Give me an executive summary. That's all. That's what I'm looking for. Give me an executive summary of what happened. That's it.
And the general gets the executive summary.
Yep.
Why doesn't private? Why doesn't platoon leader? Why doesn't all of us soldiers get the executive summary? And
Yeah.
that's what we're building. We're building the general summary, right? The president's summary for everyday people.
Oh yeah. See, I like that. I like that. Now, where do you see your company in 5 years? Like as far as like expansion and growth. Like where do you see your company in 5 years?
We're sticking to our minimalism. For us, it's
Okay.
not about growing into a podcast, into a TV show, into an application, because that is noise generative. And we do not want to make news a rich media experience. We don't want it
Okay.
to be entertaining. We wanted to stick it to exactly what we do, but be the
Uh-huh.
best at what we do. And so, in the next 5 years, I see a lot of growth for us. I see
Okay.
us becoming the default, right? The default alternative to toxic legacy media for the young
Mhm.
generation, for the frustrated people in the current generation, for the older people who are tired of eating eating up this propaganda that's left, right, and center.
Yep.
And so it's about entrenching into the mainstream culture, and
Uh-huh.
that young people who are just finishing school just finishing high school, university, their first job, whatever they're doing, right? Just getting off the country, just getting off the boat into the US, like myself just a few years ago. They don't have to read Fox News. They don't have to read CNN. They don't have to read these pundits all around in their inbox, on the screens, all these anchors. If they seek a source that is first and reader first, they have it. And we want to be that alternative that is there to catch them. When they're feeling disoriented, when they're feeling stressed out, when they're feeling uninformed, we want to be in a strong position to catch them and to help them make up their own mind, think for themselves, and be critical, independent thinkers.
Now, everyone has a price point. What would it take for what would your price point be to sell your company? Everyone has a price point.
Informed.now is not for sale. And it's hard to say now forever because we don't know what's going to happen. Whatever, if I go away, if the company just collapses, right? It's nothing is forever. Yep. But as long as I'm in charge, and as long as we're crafting this, my intention is to run this. This is a lifetime project that I see so much purpose and so much of myself in it that I can't see into the future, into decades. But I don't have any intention for this company to be sold off or to change its nature in the doing of so. Right? And if one day we come in with new leadership that is brighter, that is younger, that is better than me, that's great. But to me, when we talk about selling out, we're talking about the changing of the character. There are a couple of companies that we know and exist today, without naming names, that were great at what they did, but after the acquisition, they changed and they became advertising.
I can give you one. BET. I remember when BET was owned by Mr. Johnson, Bob Johnson. Then he sold it to Viacom, and everything changed. Everything changed. I can give you that. That's one example. There are other companies like that as well.
And so that's not on the cards, right? That type of acquisition, that type of leadership change would be a failure on my part, right? Us having advertisers us having sponsors, which is just closeted advertisers, right? If we're going to have, folks that are undermining the integrity of our research and our project, that's a failure. That's a failure for me. And I'll say it very clearly. I say this every day to my team. It'll be a failure for me. And I will not be happy. I will not be at peace with that. And, without just, saying these words, I also want to pinpoint that, selling a company is one thing down the line once you're successful. But some of the toughest moments in building a business are in the very beginning, when you don't have the belief, you don't have the money, you don't have a lot of what it takes to build a company. And a lot of people accept investors and they say, hey guys, let me, borrow money from you. You can be part of the board. You can be part of the influential body that governs this organization. And I was so committed to doing this right with no advertisers, no sponsors, and no kind of ulterior incentives that we've also decided, and this was a hard decision, to have no investors, to have no outside backing of any sort. And so we built this company from the ground up without any ulterior influences, financial, right? No investors of any kind, for the exact same purpose, that we will never sell this company to somebody who undermines the purpose.
Okay.
Right? Because we want this to be a pure project, an independent project that is aimed at the mission level and not at the profit level, not at maximizing eyeballs, not at selling our user off to the advertiser. And so I feel like we've already walked that walk through our founding journey. And that's the hardest part, right? And we've already got that work clear.
Could you see an international headquarters in your future? Maybe one in America and maybe another international headquarters somewhere in the future?
Well, we are the Switzerland of news. So it would be quite fitting for us to have a Switzerland headquarters to symbolize our absolute neutrality on the landscape. Okay, all right. Now,
man, this has been an excellent interview. Excellent interview, right? And I know you wouldn't relocate, but yeah, Switzerland would be nice. Nice women out there and everything. Nice looking women. I can't say as much about Ukraine, but I spent a day or two there.
Wow.
I've been, but yeah. So can you tell everybody where they can find you at and where they can find Informed.now? Tell them where they can find you at on social media, where they can find your website. Tell everybody where they can find you at.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all over. We're trying to make our presence felt in a way that doesn't impose ourselves. Like you're never going to see us in an advertisement, at least not in those pesky ones. But we're all over socials, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, and Informed.now is both the name of the business and it is our website, which is very convenient, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to get to Informed.now, just punch that into your URL, into your Google, and you'll come to the right place. And you get to learn more about our project, more about what we're doing, and sign up for free to see the power of facts in your palm.
Yes, that's what I need. I'm going to, as soon as we get off the show, I'm signing up. Let you know. You have a new customer me, and I might have to do this lifetime thing because $99 for a lifetime. Can't beat that.
It would be an honor to have you.
Yeah, because I love facts and just seeing it right in front of my face and knowing that okay, there's no filter with this. That's what I feel like the world needs. That's what I need for sure. Right, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, brother. Like this has been an honor to have you come on here to discuss your company and all your endeavors. All right. Oh, now what was your you do have an Instagram?
Yeah, it's Informed.now. Exactly. I think our Instagram is exactly our brand name. So that's at Informed.now on Instagram.
Okay. Because I'm going to make snippets of this interview and I'm going to tag Informed.now so they can see you on there. They're like, hey, boss, you're on TV. And but a lot of people are going to listen to this, and I'm gonna make sure that especially my people that are actively in the journalism, I'm like, hey, y'all may really want to check Informed.now out because he's building something powerful that the world needs. And he's really, really onto something because journalism is skewed right now. So
yeah, we're lucky to have a lot of more, I would say more advanced journalists using our work to empower their research, to empower their writing, and so that they're not divorced from the facts of the matter and they have a clear way to reference as they build out their stories.
Yes, indeed, man. Brother, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight, man. I appreciate you. And I'm going to send you all the links for the show, and you're going to see it's going to be phenomenal. Man, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. This has been delightful.
And I would definitely need to bring you back on because we didn't get to the funny question and answer segment. So I'm going to bring you back for that because I want to learn more. We're going to get more to Informed.now, especially once I start bringing people, once I start helping people get to your platform. So it's going to be a discussion because I know people are going to have questions that they're going to ask. And
yes,
we didn't get to the funny question and answer. So I let you slide tonight.
All right. Okay, next time.
Yes, indeed. Well, Kira, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It was an honor having you, brother.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Until next time. Now I got to get the show rolling. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Hey, now, that was a good interview. Now, y'all make sure y'all check him out because the factual news, y'all talking about facts. The world is missing facts, and people hate facts. People hate facts, right? So, man, Informed.now. I'm telling you, I'm gonna register tonight. Because I this is something I'm like I really want to do and I really want to see. All right. So now we're gonna move on to community events. So the community events, I did have the dates right last weekend. So it's a Taste of DMV. It's next weekend, June 19th through the 21st. It was the 13th through the 15th. So why are they having this? Me and Shay going to talk. Why they doing this on Father's Day weekend? See, we can't have nothing. It's Men's Mental Health Month. Okay, cool. It's Pride Month. Juneteenth it falls on Father's Day, and then she will do her event on it. But it's all good because I'm gonna go out there and support her. I get back on the 20th because I'm about to go on another vacation. I get back on the 20th, so I might pop my head in the 20th, but I know I'm going on the 21st for sure, right? But the Taste of DMV is 1101 Russell Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230. Is at the Camden Yards Sports Complex. All right. It's, man, a lot of this starts in 19. They're gonna have bands playing, they're gonna have rappers, they're gonna have R&B, they're gonna have jazz, they're gonna have soca music, they're gonna have Afro beats, they're gonna have bachata, they're gonna have everything. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have it all out there. You name it. They're gonna have food trucks, vendors. It's a festival. All right. So y'all make sure y'all go out there and support. It's June 19th through 21st, 1101 Russell Street. Okay, Baltimore, Maryland. You hear me? You hear me? Yeah. All right. Now we're gonna get into Read of the Week. So y'all know what the Read of the Week is. I already told you. I'm gonna keep telling y'all until Cletus Jean Bucks comes out this Friday. The Tearful Joys of Cletus Jean Bucks comes out this Friday. But we're not gonna get into that. We're gonna keep pushing this Masters, the Story of Elmer. Masters, the Story of Elmer. I would show y'all a copy, but guess what? I sold out. I did an event last week at the National Harbor, and I sold out of all my books. Everything I left, my box was filled. I said, I think I have 3 books left. And it's not Masters, not Betrayal of the Black Bastard. It's not The Grand Scheme of Life. It ain't As I Stand Corrected. It ain't none of those. All those are gone. You know what I'm saying? I got 3 As I Stand Corrected left. But other than that, nah, that's it. All the rest of them is gone. You know what I'm saying? It was a good, beautiful weekend. All right? Great, beautiful weekend. But Masters, everybody just been buying my books, man. I really, 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 really support it. Everybody just read my books, gave me feedback, good, bad, indifferent. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Like, for real. Thank y'all so much. Keep supporting. I'm going to keep writing. Y'all the fuel to my fire. All right? Thank you. And that's the Read of the Week. All right. Now, we'll take everybody's favorite segment of the show, Dumbass of the Week. Right? Dumbass of the Week. Dumbass of the Week. So look, remember I said when everybody graduates from high school, this is the way I firmly feel. Once you graduate from high school, I firmly feel like everybody should serve in some kind of civil service. Military, firemen, policemen, EMT, bailiff, something like some kind of civil service. Then there are plenty of them out there, but those are just a few to name, right? But after this, I don't know, man. I do not know. Now, again, we live in a world right now where people are sociopaths right now. Sociopaths. And you have to look at him. Look at his face. I don't give a fuck. And it's funny, they got a picture of him with the fire hose. Doing the right thing. Doing the absolute right thing. When I say he's doing, sir, I commend you for putting out that fire. Look at him. Risking his life for putting out that fire. Thank you, sir, for your service. I salute you. Right? Unfortunately, it's a motherfucking fire that he started. So I take that back, my boy. It's a fire he started. He started. They got him in a picture looking like a hero. I need a hero. But he started that fire. You know why this man started that fire? let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. He started that fire because he had a woman, 50-year-old woman. Be in mind, this man is only 22. 50-year-old woman that he called his second mom, right? So he must wasn't get the nurturing, the caring, and stuff that he was from his mother at the house. She was probably abusing him, putting out cigarettes on him. That's why he became a fireman, right? Abusing him. Dad probably wasn't around, so he wanted to go be around other men at the firehouse. He must be around other men for the rest of his life. Believe that. And he gonna be getting hit with the fire hose. Ain't no water gonna be coming out the end though, buddy. Ain't no water gonna be coming out the end. You know what I'm saying? The only water you gonna know is that toilet water splashing up your ass, that shower water that's gonna be sprinkled down your back with them other naked dudes the rest of your life. Because he ain't never coming home. Because he wanted to start that fire. So he had a 50-year-old woman that he called his second mom. Second mom must have aggravated him. He was probably trying to plow his second mom. He does look like incest runs in the family. Even though she wasn't his real blood, he probably got kicked out of his house for having sex with his mom. We don't know at this point, but he does look like incest runs in his family. Because he is from Ohio, you know, Ohio, West Virginia, Alabama, you know, certain parts of Tennessee, Arkansas, stuff like that. You know, all y'all look alike. And he looked like his brother and sister may have been related. I don't know. Eyes little close to the nose. And he got the incest beard. You know how you got the hair on the neck, everything is light right here, but he got all the hair on the neck right here. He got like it connects to chest hair. Like, ugh. So look. But Mr. Incest right here, 22-year-old man, Mr. Incest, says, I don't like what you're saying to me. To a 50-year-old lady, blah, blah, blah. Again, she probably turned him down. Probably didn't give him some money. Probably something dumb. Because you know these young niggas be out here kirking out for no reason. Oh, you said I can't have no cake? Remember a couple weeks ago, a dude shot his grandmother a bunch of times. Stabbed his grandmother a bunch of times and stabbed everybody in the house. Because they asked him to bring in groceries on a Sunday. This is a little bit worse than that. A little bit worse. Mr. Fireman, Fireman. So, his second mother, someone he cherished, he loved, all that stuff. He decided that fuck this, I can't take you no more. You got to go. So you know what this motherfucker does? He goes out to the car. Premeditation. Goes get his gun. And while she's sitting there watching the Wheel of Fortune, probably, The Price is Right, something Jeopardy, you know, Family Feud, watching the show in her little recliner, rocking back and forth. Mr. Incest, jail fireman, or whatever he is, he got going on, eyes close to the nose, goes in there and shoots her 4 times. Shoots her 4 times. Kills her. So, what does Mr. Fireman do to try to cover it up? Mr. Fireman, in the picture, look at him. Help me put the fire out. He sets the motherfucking house on fire. Fuck it. She in there dead in her rocking chair, Willa Fortune still on TV. He sets the motherfucking house on fire. Calls the fire department. Hey, my second mom is in the house. I need you to come and save her. Oh my God, I tried to get in the house, I could not get in. Little did he know, there were cameras all over the house. The neighbor seen him go in the house, seen his vehicle pop there. There was cameras all over the place. Those videos go to the cloud, sir. Those videos go to the cloud, dumbass. Right? So, when the fire department gets there, then he called them, while he set the house on fire, while it's burning down and everything, he said, give me a uniform, give me a hose, I'm gonna help. He decided to help put the fire out while the house is burning. He's sitting there yelling, screaming, put the fire out. My mom's in there. My second mom's in there. My second mom is in there. He volunteered to help put the fucking fire out. She was gone, burnt to a crisp, house burnt to the ground, all that stuff, right? He thought he'd get away with murder because he helped put the fire out. Sir, police investigated you. Police investigated. They seen you walk outside, come back in the house with the gun in your hand. You can hear the gunshots going on in the cameras. Bang, 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 bang. They see you leave out the house in a frenzy with the gun in your hand. Right? Then they see you put yourself on, they see you go back in with a gas can and all that stuff. Set the house on fire. Stupid. Just pure D, dumb, redneck Ohio shit. Dumb. Right? Goes back outside after setting the house on fire. They calls the fucking fire department. Everything. Oh my God, my second mom's in there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Host put the fire out, investigate him. He goes to work at the firehouse. Police is standing there waiting on him. Sir, you need to come with us. What did I do? One, he never got rid of the fucking gun. He kept the gun in his vehicle. Two, the gun was legal in his name. The bullets was traced back to his firearm. You can't make it up. It's fucking dumb. You can't make it up. Right? 22 years old, mind fully ain't fully developed yet. You can't make it up. All right? Three, when he got to the firehouse, when they got to the firehouse and everything, he tried to fight the police. Fuck that, blah, 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 trying to make it to his pickup truck where the gun still was. Fucking dumb. I guess he had to protect himself at all costs. But that day, the police got him, restrained him, took him to jail, and now he's in jail, charged with aggravated murder and arson as being held on a $5 million bond. He killed the lady and set her house on fire and then put the fire out. There's a special place he needs to be. Him getting the bond is insanity to me. What the fuck is going on? This man got a bond to shoot somebody, set the house on fire, and being crazy enough to call to help put the fire out. And y'all gave him a bond, $5 million still, but you gave him a bond. What the fuck is going on? So my dumb ass of the week is going to Ohio firefighter, 22-year-old Peyton Beam. You will get dumb ass of the week. Fuck is you talking about? Fucking stupid. It's fucking dumb. You didn't get rid of the gun. You could have just left the body. You could have left the house. You could have did everything. You could have went and took all the cameras out. You could have made sure the cameras was covered. Spray paper. You could have done anything, but you didn't do none of that stuff. So, sir, you like long hoses to put your fire out. You're gonna be getting long hoses to get your fire put out for the rest of your life. You like things burnt up, your butt pussy gonna be getting burnt up for the rest of your life. I hope you enjoy. That's the end of your civil service. Now you about to be getting the civil duties in your booty. And I hope you enjoy. With that being said, Philippine, you'll get dumbass a week. Fuck is you talking about fucking stupid? Can't believe this shit, man. It's fucking dumb. Fucking dumb, dumb, dumb. Dumb. Can't make it up, man. You cannot make it up. Now look, y'all make sure y'all go check out Kira Shishkin and Informed.now. Listen, I'm going to sign up. I don't know what y'all going to do, but I'm going to sign up for sure. I'm going to sign up. And I want to thank everybody that's been supporting me through this journey for sure. And y'all go vote for Joe Tobert, man. Joe Tobert. House of Delegates, number 25. All right? Y'all go show some support. Bow, 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 bow. Yeah, right? Now, with that being said, next week I'm going to be out of town, but I'm going to put up a little show for y'all for next week. It's still going to be up, all right? And then the summer slate is full, baby. The summer slate is full. So y'all about to get more stuff like Cure. I got a professor coming on here in a couple of weeks. AI CEO coming on here. I got a actor coming on. They're in Hollywood. Yeah, man. So, and professional scriptwriter coming on. I have like people coming on. So, first thing that made me feel good is when he said, "Yeah, A bunch of my colleagues watch your show and they said, man, it would be a great show for you to go on. The reach is happening. People are tuning in. People are watching. It's happening. I appreciate everybody. For real, for real. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, with that being said, it's time to get the fuck out of here. Yeah.